Good evening and thank you for joining us. Thunder Bay first responders rushed to a Lakehead University campus building this afternoon after a chemical spill was reported in one of the labs. Lakehead's building on Balmoral Street was quickly evacuated after a substance spill in the paleo DNA lab prompted workers in the building to call 911. Thunder Bay fire rescue crews are still on scene at this hour, performing a thorough cleanup of the immediate area, and they have said that could take a few more hours to complete. Chief John Hay says when it comes to hazardous materials, it's important to take precautionary steps to ensure the safety for all involved.
Well, we have a robust hazmat response. Certainly, hazmat calls take a lot of staff. It's very labor-oriented and actually quite slow. So we may be here for a little while until we get prepared to enter and get some more intel on what's going on in there.
There's no word yet on what hazardous materials were involved in the spill. We've also had no word on any injuries. The university says the building will remain closed until further notice. A man has been badly injured in a fall from the top of the bluffs near Boulevard Lake. Police, fire crews, and paramedics all rushed to the scene at around 8 o'clock this morning. The man, who's approximately 30 years old, had to be carried to an ambulance and was then rushed to the regional hospital. Superior North EMS Superintendent Eric Todd says emergency responders had to crawl over huge rocks and through bush to locate the man, who was found to be suffering from critical injuries.
It was found after a long search that an individual had in fact fallen down approximately 40 feet, and he was about 1,000 yards into the bush. So our paramedics and police services people went in to find him, assess him over very rough terrain, and it was found that he was in very serious critical condition.
Todd says the man did not appear to be a recreational rock climber and that he was likely sightseeing at the bluffs. The Salvation Army is now close enough to their fundraising goal to begin construction of their new Journey to Life Center. The estimated $12 million facility will replace their aging homeless shelter on Cumberland Street. Carmen Wong has the story.
It's the planned replacement of the Salvation Army's existing and aging North Cumberland Street building, which has been operating here for nearly 50 years. Capital funds have already been donated by the city, the District Social Services Board, and other groups, and they're now about $2.3 million away from their fundraising goal. Salvation Army Lieutenant Colonel Jim Champ says the old building needs to be replaced.
We've been working towards having enough support for this project for a while now, and one only needs to go inside the present facility to see that it's much needed, that it's about time.
The current facility operates with only 20 emergency shelter beds, along with 16 residential rooms for men with mental health issues and 8 beds for men on early release from federal penitentiaries. The new Journey to Life Center will offer more housing to help participants break free from the cycle of homelessness and poverty. Executive Director Major Lori Mitchell says the purpose-built facility will allow for more programming and address capacity issues.
Our current facilities are old. We inherited it in 1971, and it was an old hotel then. So in order to be able to really serve the population that we do, we need to have proper facilities. And so our new building is going to be about twice the size, and we'll have proper program space, but it'll also have more of an opportunity for privacy for the residents and dignity and those kind of things.
The estimated $12 million facility will also provide the Journey to Life program. Participants will learn how to become independent through individualized education, such as job and life skills programming. The facility also runs community services such as a food bank and community kitchen. Resident and baker at the shelter, Peter Gallagher, says the opportunity to pursue his passion in the kitchen at the Salvation Army gave him hope for a better life.
When I first came here, my hopes were pretty down. My eyesight is gone, and by them allowing me to work in the kitchen and do different things, it built my spirit back up again and gave me hope.
Although this was a groundbreaking ceremony, construction of the Journey to Life Center won't actually begin until August, with completion expected by the fall of 2009. Carmen Wong, TVT News.
The MNR has decided there is no need to try trapping a bear that's worried some residents in the Northwood area. That bear was sighted several times in recent months and has a den on the bank of the Nebing River near Parkway Drive. One resident appeared before City Council at the end of April to express frustration over failed efforts to get the ministry to relocate the animal. MNR spokesperson Yolanda Kowalski says there have been no reported activity involving that bear in the Northwood area in recent weeks, and thus there is no need for further action. On the campaign trail today, the three main party leaders were all in the Toronto area, promoting a variety of campaign issues. The NDP's Andrea Horwath visited a daycare centre, where she promised to expand childcare spaces. Sean Leathong reports.
Old MacDonald has a farm, E-I-E-I-O.
At a daycare in Scarborough surrounded by mothers and young children, NDP leader Andrea Horwath heard parents' concerns for the lack of affordable childcare in the city.
I Googled the prices and it was just not in my family's budget.
I wouldn't be eligible for a subsidy, so essentially it is like having a mortgage, and I would be in my mother's basement forever.
Horwath and the NDP are touting a plan that would see a big change.
So we are committing to 202,000 new spaces over the first 4 years in government.
Spaces would be allocated in not-for-profit licensed childcare centers.
Any family earning under 40,000 won't have to pay for childcare at all.
She says there would be a sliding scale where payment would be based on income. An average family would pay $12 a day, but she was unclear just what the scale would look like and who would be considered the top income earners.
What I'm here to say is it doesn't have to be this way. After 15 years of Liberal government, we see families struggling to find childcare, struggling to pay for childcare.
It was also unclear how much the entire plan would cost over the 4 years of an NDP government. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
Doug Ford took aim at high fuel costs today. The Progressive Conservative leader promised a variety of moves that he says will cut gasoline prices by 10 cents a litre. Colin DeMello has more.
With gas prices creeping to painful summer highs, PC leader Doug Ford is capitalizing on the anger, promising to cut fuel prices by 10 cents a litre if elected.
We're going to eliminate the Liberal NDP cap and trade, stop the Liberal NDP carbon tax, and reduce Ontario's excise tax. By doing so, the PC government will reduce gas prices by 10 cents a litre.
Eliminating the tax also means eliminating $1.2 billion in revenue. Ford says the money will be returned to taxpayers, but what he won't say is how he'll make up the difference.
This will stimulate the economy when we put money back into their pocket. We're not putting it anywhere else. We're putting it back into the taxpayers' pocket. They're going to have a little more money in their pocket to go out and shop, stimulate the economy. That's our plan.
The PC say for the average driver, it's a savings of about $500 a year.
Meantime, Liberal leader Kathleen Wynne was at a Toronto aircraft assembly plant. She used the opportunity to talk about her party's success in job creation, pointing to a jobless rate that's at its lowest level in 20 years. Austin Delaney has that story.
There you go.
Kathleen Wynne visiting the Mitsubishi heavy industry plant today, touting her government's record on jobs.
So we've got a good thing going. It's time to make it even greater. Not great again. It is great, but we want to make it greater still.
The Ontario Liberal leader touring the Mississauga aerospace plant where they manufacture the Challenger, saying unemployment in the province is at its lowest point in almost 2 decades. Wynne took a shot at PC leader Doug Ford, who this week was campaigning at the Canada-U.S. border, saying we are losing jobs to the south.
But the fact is we are having a net increase. If you look at the jobs that leave and the jobs that come, we're creating more than we're losing.
Wynne says there will always be back and forth and argues the $5 million the government invested in this plant helped grow jobs here, while Ford has campaigned against what he calls corporate welfare.
Now, with the June 7th election inching closer, Progressive Conservative candidate Derek Parks says he wants to change how the province uses its taxpayer dollars. This is Parks' second time running in the Thunder Bay Superior North riding, and he's looking to bring a fresh voice for the riding to Queen's Park. Tony Brower has more in this candidate profile.
As a proud father of 2, Derek Parks says he wishes to build a solid foundation for future Ontarians. The PC party candidate for Thunder Bay Superior North says his love for the outdoors and this province stems from his work experience.
I think my experience as a 25-year environmental scientist, I helped permit mines in Labrador, Ontario, Manitoba, been used to provide expertise to a variety of First Nations in different locales in Canada. So I think you know, spending 25 years learning the bureaucracy that's slowing things down, I think brings an added ability to make those changes.
Changes that include a proper allocation of taxpayers' dollars, says Parks.
People are very upset with how the taxpayers' dollars have been spent. Our deficit is huge. We got hallway health care. There's a plethora of issues, and that I think for myself, being an environmental scientist and a 25-year career in mining and resource development, I really hope I get that chance to sit at an Ontario PC government table to help make decisions for Thunder Bay, Superior North and Northern Ontario.
In hopes to earn his seat at the big table, Parks says he is looking to build upon his first campaign back in 2014. Parks finished third in that race, but now Doug Ford is leading the party, and Parks says having a leader who cares for Northern Ontario, along with the lessons learned 4 years ago, are integral pieces to his election run this time.
That experience allowed me to see what's necessary to run a successful campaign. We spent time building that team, and we've got a great team right now, and we feel a fighting chance to take this riding.
A chance to be determined on June 7th. Tony Brar, TBT News.
Tomorrow we'll meet the Green Party candidate in Thunder Bay Superior North, Amanda Matajan. There are some alarming new statistics on opioid use in Ontario. A new study suggests nearly a quarter of first-time opioid prescriptions exceeded recommended dose limits introduced last year. Almost 24% of painkiller prescriptions in Ontario between 2015 and 2016 had a daily dose of more than 50 milligram morphine equivalents. That's more than the threshold set last year for North American doctors treating non-cancer patients. Guidelines suggest opioids should ideally be restricted to less than 50 milligrams a day. And shoppers at the Thunder Centre had a close call today after a light pole toppled over and split a tree. It happened at the Canadian Tire parking lot. It's not known what caused the pole with two large lights on top of it to fall over, but we can see what stopped it from completely smashing to the ground. This newly planted tree was in the perfect position to soften the blow to both the pavement and the lights. It appears no shoppers at Thunder Centre were injured. We'll have to wait and see, though, if that tree makes a full recovery.
Well, hopefully, Fiona.